Hi there, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. It's Saturday in Australia, and there's huge protests going on in all our capital cities as we speak. And I was umming and ahhing because, as you know, intrepid viewers, protests. I have a thing about protests. But on the advice of family members and others, I decided, you know what, I'm too old to be on the front line during a pandemic. So if COVID wasn't around, I'd go, because in Australia, although there are incidences of police brutality, there's not the sort of intensity and pressure that you would be facing in the US. So if you are going to protest, please be ultra, ultra, ultra careful. And make sure your phone's charged. Go with more than one person. Have a rallying point if you get separated. All those things. Yeah, I know, Mum. Be really, really careful. If you decided, for whatever reason, that you can't engage in the direct action, there are plenty of things for you to do to support and offer solidarity. So you can donate. If you've got money, you can donate money. If not, time, a few hours a week for good organisations to do support work. And particularly in the US context, I think one of the best things you can do is help someone you know to register to vote. You know, if you know people who regularly vote, that's fine, but try and find some who don't or can't or find it difficult or have literacy issues or maybe a bit older. Help them through the process, and it's really, really, really important. Meanwhile, I must say, I'm kind of a bit jealous of those who are out there. Isn't that a terrible thing to say? But you know, intrepid viewers, have I not been saying for 2 years, when people ask me whether it's in Australia or online, you know, when's Trump going to go? My answer has always been, when Americans say no more. I've been going, where are the protests? Right. So these protests are overdue. If they've been building, well, for 400 years for the actual issue, but in terms of the Yeti's reign, they've been building for the last 3 years. And so there's a lot of pent-up energy there, but connections are being made, and there's going to be horrible stories and fantastic stories that keep emerging through this process. So I thought today I'd look at the US in June, and I'll take a look at the protests, and I'll have another look at the other issue. Okay, so let's launch in here. It's the beginning of June. Well, we're a week into June. Sorry, this is a bit late, but so much has been going on. Here we go. The US in June. The eclipse is with us now. This is the baby eclipse, and there's 2 more bigger ones coming. So let's have a look here. All right. All going on here. So bang in the middle, this is the 2 of Wands, the card of planning and strategizing. So I think this is both sides of the fence. I think this is protesters organising and strategizing, and I think it's the Yeti. Well, strategizing is probably too grand a word, isn't it, really, for what goes on in his brain. So he's going, just make it happen, you know. But I think it's talking about the GOP strategizing as well as the protesters and police and governors. There's a lot of strategizing going on. Let's put it that way, because that's bang in the centre of the reading USA for June. Now, the challenge is the Death card. Now, most professional tarot readers take pains on every occasion to say, oh, well, the Death card, you know, usually doesn't refer to literal death and but it was a particular brutal death that kicked this off that they can't escape from. That the powers that be, those who have supported Trump, cannot run away from this issue. Right. Now, so yes, and of course, as we've talked about before, it's not just one man's death, it's been many, and Breonna Taylor and all the others who have gone before. It's all about that, but it is about then its bigger tarot meaning, which is this is not going back in the box this time. Well, certainly not in June, let's put it that way. Certainly not in June. In other words, it's the end of one way of doing everything, moving into another way of doing it. Very important card of transition. All right, so past actions, King of Cups. I don't think this is the Yeti, although it could be. Just let me think, past actions. It could be his immaturity. I very rarely see him in any emotional way because he doesn't have traditional human emotions. Let me take this opportunity again to apologise to any Yetis who are watching. Nothing wrong with a real Yeti. But for the fake Yeti, Bunker Boy, you know, Captain Crazy Pants, that one, this could be the twisted version of the King of Cups. So he does think of himself with king-like qualities, so maybe it is him. So normally the nice King of Cups is someone who's emotionally nurturing to people, a man who's in touch with his emotions and the emotions of others. So as you can see, I was struggling to make the association. But if you look at it as anyone who'd read it reversed or the not so good side of the King of Cups, he's a puddle of his own emotions that he can't control, doesn't recognise, and has absolutely no respect for. It just goes from, it's about me, to rage in a nanosecond. So I'm putting that down to a very unevolved King of Cups with the fake Yeti. Okay, what's the current position for America now? Well, justice, justice, justice. It's all about justice. So this is, you know, to use the old expression, the cards on the table, these cards on this table, which is actually my bed. If you see, the King's crown has been skewered by the Ace of Swords. It is known colloquially in the tarot industry as the cutting through the card. Okay, so that's what's happening now. That's why it's not going to go away, because it's truth-seeking missile. That's what's motivating people. They have the individual and collective ways of looking at this issue, but it's essentially about the truth must come out. So what are the issues that have to be dealt with for progress to be made? The devil. Now, I'm sorry, I think they should get rid of whoever is pretending to be the doctor at the White House, because we know what he's responsible for. He really just needs a vet. So the devil card, this is, I think, speaking about Trump's addictions, and he always says he's a non-drinker. He might be. we have our suspicions that he has other issues with prescription drugs, but it's also his addiction to power. It's his addiction to greed. It's very base. So you see the couple who are chained to the devil here, their neck chains are loose enough, they can take them off. So this could be a hint, a warning, a suggestion that those who have chained themselves to him are really coming to the end game of that little power fantasy. If they stay with him from this point on, they are going down on the Titanic. They can take the chains off. It's 5 minutes to midnight. For me, Lisa Murkowski, it's too late, doll. You know, sorry, should have done it a couple of years ago. For most of them, it's too late. But they're wrestling with it, and I actually think some will take the chains off. Please don't. Lesson for the US, compromise. Compromise. Now, that's the lesson, how to compromise. But the advice for the nation to move forward, the advice is the Ace of Wands, direct action. I just used that phrase when I was raving on in the intro. Direct action is the answer, because people don't understand anything else much. And so this momentum has to keep going. So now I'm going to have a quick look week by week and see what's going to happen with the protests on a weekly basis. And then I'll quickly move to see what's happening with the pandemic generally. Okay, let me mix these cards up. And the other things he's doing, like withdrawing 9,000 troops from Germany. Whose advice was that? You know, I think what someone, you know how Mattis spoke out and the Yeti spat back, and Murkowski spoke out and he spoke, you know, the way he does. I think someone should come out, they might have already done this, and just say, I think this, this and this, and he's going to come back and say, I'm a nasty person, I'm fake news, I belong to a failing organisation, and just trot out the 5 or 6 tired old schoolyard abuse threats. He hasn't even got original threats. He can't even dream up an original nasty comment. Have you guys all seen the Trump whisperer, Sarah Cooper? YouTube Sarah Cooper, the Trump whisperer. It is gold, as we say in Australia. It's gold. Okay, now I'm just going to do 2 cards. Well, we've only got 3 weeks remaining, haven't we really? Let me see. 3 and a bit. Okay, let's have a look from now till the end of June by the week. I've already done the video on his. He gets the tower near the end of June. And of course, he's going to get madder and badder in the meantime. Okay, so, but this is for the country. All right, I'm going to start with week 2. That's week 2. Week 3. Week 4. All right. He turned up again. This is the twisted twist. He's changed. It's interesting. His energy's changed. For him to come up twice in a reading as the perverted King of Cups, that's interesting. That's saying to me, another digression. Intrepid viewers, bear with me. One thing a narcissist can't handle is not being popular. And one thing a rich man can't handle is not being able to buy popularity. So often these men, they don't actually want or need friends so much. They want allies, they want acquaintances, they want people who can either submit to their power or make their power more, right? That's what rocks their emotional boat. That's why he's such twisted King of Cups. But now he's run out of friends, acquaintances, and even the allies are starting to dwindle. So he's turning to the family. This is family money, and I think he's going quite berserk behind the scenes, you know. He's saying things, I think, like, I made you rich, and, you've got to stand by me. I think no one else is picking up the phone, and they're too scared not to. Ooh, yuck energy, yuck, yuck, yuck energy. So next week is all about him. Now, in the third week of June, there's going to be a bit of a shift, and that shift is moving to a safer place, followed by young people thinking about how they're going to approach the next stage, because they're beginning to realise that, oh, it's the beginning of summer. Oh, we've got a long way to go. This is still almost 2 weeks from now. They'll be starting to think this and be more strategic again. So this is making sure you're safe, okay? That's so important. But also thinking through the next step. What is the most effective way to keep getting the message across? So there might be a shift in tactics 2 weeks from now. The final week of June, everyone will still be arguing with everybody about everything. And then sudden whoosh change, 8 of Wands, things coming from all directions, which I think, because he's the linchpin, these are all going to be flying at him, and everyone else is going to get the fallout. So June's going to be massive, absolutely massive. He's capable of anything, as we know. Oh, that's what people have been asking. Let me put those cards back quickly, and I'll ask, is he going to try and introduce martial law? Because I'm sure his little stumpy fingers are itching. Let's just ask that question. Oh, let's see. Okay, let me have a shuffle here. Such a dreadful man. Look, he's just an embodiment of the 7 deadly sins, isn't he? Rolled into a suit. He's got them all. Oh, and that dreadful photo op with the Bible. And apparently Ivanka took the Bible to the church that they forcibly evacuated everybody to get there, including pushing the minister out of her own church. Ivanka took the Bible in her $1,500 purse. People struggling and waiting for the next $1,200 check. She would spend more than that on a handbag. Okay. All right. So is he going to do it? Is he going to declare martial law? To do it. Oh, he's thinking and planning. These cards, it's not a categorical yes. I think, okay, King of Swords, that could be him morphing from the King of Cups into the more aggressive King of Swords, or this could be someone who stands in his way. I think there is a slightly more authoritarian figure, more than him, who is holding him back. The Two of Cups, I think it is people at the Pentagon talking with people at the White House. It's combinations of people talking to try and stop this. This is a peaceful card. It's not that they're peace-loving types, but they seriously don't want a full-blown martial law thing. Ace of Pentacles, also the card of Fool's Gold. he also is a worry, because with this Ace of Pentacles, see the gap in the hedge there? There's an aspect to the Ace of Pentacles. If you don't learn your lessons, you have to learn them again. And so here he is working away, ironically, the Apprentice card. You've got to love that, intrepid viewers. Not that he's ever done a day's work in his life, but this is him working on way. He's sending other people off to work on ways. How can I do it? How can I do it? And he is in a state of delusion. He is in a state of delusion. So what I see from that is he's investing really bigly in being able to do it. I think people will hold him in check for now. It might mean, depending on which state, there might be more National Guard activity or something. He's moved troops around, but I don't see them out there next few weeks. I hope that's right. Okay, well, the time we've all got to watch, and those of you who are astrologers might be able to help me out. When Mars moves into Aries is the most likely time, if it's going to happen, that it will happen, and I'm not sure of those dates, because that's Mars, the god of war, with all this Aries primal me first energy. So let's see there. Okay, so hopefully it won't come to that, please God. Okay, I'm going to have a quick look now overall at the pandemic in the US, a little bit in the UK. Don't worry, UK. Boris isn't going to be there long. I really think he can't handle the pressure. When this collides with the fake Brexit, may as well use the term, total mess. I think he'll run away and move to an island somewhere. Yeah, I really don't think he's up to it. But this is the US for now. This is the US for now, June, and COVID. Let's see. Let's do a full carder on this. All right. Look, it's going to get worse again, I think, short term. People are still worried and should be worried. Oh, what was the figure? Something like 11,000 cases just from meatpacking plants or something. So the numbers are still high, and this is a source of concern for those who care. This is people, I think, distressed about loved ones, and I really hope there isn't an upshot after the actual protests. That's why I'm not out there today. I really think people who are older or who have compromised health conditions should not be out there. And if you are, wear 2 masks. Look, really. It's a state of still being embattled, but by the end of June, this is the Sun card, and this is the World card. So it's like the sun shining on the world. So I think, in a way, the world is going to see a reduction in cases overall and survival results and those sort of things, even if there's a second wave, hospitals being able to cope. Directly in the US, let us hope. Okay, so they're not too bad. Those cards aren't too bad, I have to say. So what I'm going to look at now, just briefly, is just the astrology cards from now till June. you're going into, well, you are in the northern summer. You've got June, July, August. Just everything is going to get more intense from now on. June's going to unfold with a bit of a break, bit of good news about the issue, we'll call it. Then more, so there's this rocking horse sort of movement. July and August are going to be epic. So hold on to your hats, hunker down, be sensible, you know. So I'm just quickly looking at, and you should follow this up with a real astrologer. I'm just seeing what the astrology cards give me. The energy of June. The energy of June. All right. Oh, women, women, women. Taurus, earth energy, not your traditional image of an earth mother, but you get the point. The moon, female nurturing, caring, intuition, what it's all about. And Venus, the goddess of love. So I'm going to stop there because I think that's fantastic. So I was expecting, you know, Pluto and Uranus and all this aggro boy stuff. And you know what the universe has given us to finish on today? You know what we have to tap into, whether you're male or female or anything else? The feminine principle. That is so gorgeous. All right, guys, I love you immensely, as you know. So keep those comments rolling in. Thank you for your comments and donations. You've been very kind because, yeah, everyone's money's dropped because people don't have as much money and it all goes around. So I am grateful for that. And just showing you before I go, of course, the Truthless Tiger shirt. So I'll put the link up again. But you guys have been fantastic. And I can't thank you enough for being there. And it is my privilege to be here for you. Bye now. Bye, 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 bye.